Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Bodybuilding Mountain. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the polarity that happens a lot with people that are training, right? Because what will happen is that you'll discover some things that work, and then, you know, like everyone out there, you start to become a little bit of a crazy person, right? And you start saying, hey, this technique or this form or this exercise is the best possible thing, and then everything else is garbage, right? So you may have noticed that you discover a new exercise and you're like, wow, it's like the best possible thing. And there's like a love affair that goes on for a period of time. And then after a while, the enthusiasm starts to diminish and you start to realize, well, maybe there's something else that works better than this. Maybe the exercise starts to not work as well for you, or you're not getting the same type of muscularity from it or the hypertrophy that you want. Although in the beginning you probably did. This is totally normal. So another way and a broader way that this same type of issue is applied is that people will use lightweight in their training and get a sick pump or isolate a certain area very well. And then they'll say, oh, you know, it's always about light weights and always about perfect form and so forth, right? So they get stuck in the isolation side of things, which does play a major role in muscle mass, there's no doubt. But that doesn't mean that the heavyweight exercises, where you're not concentrating on isolating as much, but just lifting heavier weight, that doesn't mean that that doesn't also have its place. So I always talk about everything has its place, and the combination of these things creates that synergy, which contributes to greater muscle mass. It isn't necessarily either or, although we could debate about your individual situation and how it applies to you. Right? So some people, maybe 5% of the time they go heavy and 95% of the time they're going light, right? Or higher rep ranges. And some people, maybe it is 100% of the time. Maybe that's just what's working for them and that's what they found to be true. But for people like myself, I found that I still need to lift a little bit heavier from time to time, and then also do my isolation type work in other workouts when I'm doing my lighter workouts, like I've talked about multiple times on this channel, where I do easier workouts where I'm not quite as intense, but I'm focusing on isolating the muscles and just getting a good feel. And I think there's a huge, huge benefit to doing this. Like a huge benefit that a lot of people overlook. And you could see that in the video that I made on that, one of the most overlooked ways of training. I got 10,000 views, where most of my videos get 2,000 or 3,000 views. So the fact is that that is a massive, massive thing that I think you could benefit from. So by all means, you know, definitely try that form of training from time to time. But that said, I do find that I still need to challenge the muscle here and there. I still need to go a bit heavier. I still need to do, like, say today I did my form of squats, which everybody hates, but you know, my partial form of squats with 365. And now I've done multiple days with just doing 225 squats or 185 or just a plate sometimes. But most of the time that I'm doing these lightweight workouts, I'm still going to do the heavy workout once a week or once every 2 weeks or so forth, and just challenge the muscles in a different way. So yeah, there's this synergy that goes on. And I think that is also a very overlooked side of things, especially to the beginner mind. And I will say that some of the most advanced lifters that you guys are following on the internet, some guys that have won national titles and stuff, they'll have a tendency to see things with a beginner mind, even though they have national titles and pro cards and all that, because they're not looking at the synergy that's going on. They'll just say this one principle or this one technique or this one type of training program is the end all be all, but not looking at how the fact is that there's a lot of different variables that when you learn how to mix them together for your individual situation, you're going to get way better gains, way better results, and have a lot more fun training instead of just beating your head against a wall all the time, right? Because if you push in the wrong direction, as we know, it sometimes ends up in injury. So you always have to make sure that you're vigilant about what the body is telling you. That's really the thing. That's what you're here to learn, is that communication between you and the body, and it takes time to learn. Like I just had somebody say that they can't feel their muscles. So I'm going to show you something right now, And maybe this will help this person, assuming they don't have some severe neurological disorder of some sort, right? I mean, I don't know what this person's individual situation was, but I'm assuming they're saying they can't feel the muscles work. They just somehow just can't, you know, do another rep or something, and they hit exhaustion, but they're not really sure, you know, where those forces are playing out. And that is kind of normal in a beginner. Like a lot of beginners, it's amazing how disconnected, you know, a lot of people are from their bodies, and a lot of beginners experience this. And it should be a eureka moment, like how disconnected you are. Like you can't even feel what muscles are working. That is a very blind way of maneuvering the body, right? And, you know, there are certain masters, you know, yogic masters that can feel how to adjust their blood pressure and so forth. I mean, you could read all these different types of ninja books, you know, back in the days, in the 80s and all this stuff about these ninjas that could stop their heart rate and all this. I mean, that would be an ideal circumstance where you are conscious of what affects what in your body, and you're so in tune that you notice when something is out of sorts long before the catastrophe happens. And that's really how you can maintain perfect health, right? That's really what we should all be aspiring to. Right? We should be aspiring to that type of awareness of the body and that type of relationship. So yeah, I'm going to do a light set here. Just warming up with the 70s here. I'm on a bit of a steeper incline today. So if I was a person that couldn't feel my muscles, one thing I would do is slower reps, right? Just like this. And you will feel tension somewhere. I mean, at some point you're going to feel a burn, and you know, using lighter weights may help too, because where you're feeling that burn is a form of muscular tension. Like it's muscular fatigue, but it's a byproduct of muscular tension in that area, right? So basically slow reps can help you connect to that area, and it can help expand your awareness, right? Because if you're doing fast, you might be just, you know, speeding through a process. And this can actually help you not only be a little bit safer on the joints for a period of time, but also connect to the body, right? Connect to the muscles, like which muscles are actually being hit. Feel yourself through the process. Now, again, I like faster reps, but for awareness, there's no doubt slow reps are king for awareness. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, that's a tip for you guys out there that are struggling for feeling a certain area. Really slow down the repetition and pay attention to where those forces are playing out. Because once you slow everything down, it's almost like a world opens up for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm open to changing rep speeds from time to time as well. Especially when you're using lighter weights and stuff, just to play around with, you know, the angles of attack, the techniques, and see where you are actually feeling those forces play out. Here we go, a little bit of a steeper incline with the 105s. And yeah, there's a lot of subtle different techniques you can use in order to make sure you isolate the pec more and stuff. But once you get into heavier weight, then your technique will change a little bit, right? Once you're doing heavier weight, now you want to make sure that you cater the technique to injury prevention first, and making sure that you distribute the forces evenly amongst all the muscles, right? The reason why is because once you have higher level of intensity, now the risk of injury goes up quite a bit, right? So that's why when you're getting really creative, you do that creative type of stuff with the exercises, and you know, flared elbows and all these weird things that you might need to do in order to isolate the pecs or whatever. You do that during the lighter weight workouts, and therefore you get the best of both worlds, the hypertrophy workouts and also the strength workouts, and then you get better muscle gains from you know, navigating both those areas, right? But yeah, that's what I have to say about that subject. So it's not always about heavy versus light or whatever. It's about finding the right combination And yeah, I hope this helps out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgalantbodybuilding.com. And thanks a lot to the Patreon supporters. Motion.